If this is your first time tuning in to Living Real Driven, this is not just another show or podcast where I bring on wildly successful entrepreneurs and influencers. This is a show where I showcase people just like you and me who are pursuing their passions to the fullest, regardless of the challenges and adversities that we're likely to face in our journeys. These people strive to be the best in their field, make an impact, and help others forge their own destiny. These people choose to live a real driven life.
My name is Radley Gillis. I'm a Doubleamputee. I have a fitness brand to help inspire other people to overcome their challenges. I'm working towards going to law school, and I live a real driven life.
I firmly believe that no other person would have been able to rally the entire Orlando community like Radley has.
It's like you meet him and you just feel like you knew him your whole life. He's just one of your best friends.
He lights up the room, honestly, when you see him. He always comes up to you smiling and laughing.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Living Real Driven. I'm your host, Nick Updike, and today I have my man Radley Gillis with me. Radley has one of the craziest, most inspiring stories I've heard in a very long time, and I'm fortunate enough to have him here with me. We were actually able to crush a workout before this, and he's willing to share with you his whole story, some of the adversity he's overcome, and the lessons he's learned through his journey. So thank you so much for being on the show, bro.
Of course, man.
It's awesome to have you on, and yeah, will you just start off by, sharing some of your journey before the accident and your life prior, and then kind of a little bit through, and I'll just weave in some questions and stuff because I'm a curious guy. But yeah, man, go ahead.
All right, for sure.
Do the honors.
So I'm starting at the beginning. I grew up Hollywood, Florida. Grew up at my dad's gym with my brother. I have 3 younger brothers, and we grew up in the gym, so fitness has always been like a huge thing with us.
Right. Yeah.
My dad drove that into us since we were little. Anyway, I started wrestling when I was 5, and my dad also had to start that, and then also had a start, doing motocross, just because those were the 2 things that he loved, and he got us into it.
Lifting and motocross.
Lifting and motocross,
Hell
the
yeah.
fun stuff. My dad, he wrestled when he was in high school, and he took like 2nd in the state. So he missed it by this much, and he always told us when we were little, you're gonna be state champs, and kind of put that thought into us when we're babies. So I'll skip over to high school. I got super into wrestling. I'd always been pretty athletic, loved doing all sports,
Right.
football, basketball, whatever. Wrestling was my main thing though, and so everything I was doing in high school, like, really just revolved around wrestling.
I got it.
So, I ended up winning states and nationals throughout high school, and then I got recruited to wrestle Division I, and I went and wrestled at the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga, and I don't know, I got sick of it. I'd been doing it for so long.
It happens, man. That's how I was with baseball. I was just doing it all the time, playing every day, traveling, doing doubleheaders, and I was just like, I'm gonna try something different.
Exactly. I there was no off season. I was just doing wrestling camps, nonstop working out, wrestling practice, wrestling tournaments. That's all I did. And then I did that first year in college, and I was like, this isn't what I want to do anymore. I want to. I'm a hard worker and everything. I did what I wanted to do. I accomplished my goals with wrestling, and now I want to, apply it to somewhere else and see what else I can do. So, while I was up there, my best friend, Jake Adler.
Wait, so you're in Tennessee D1, and then you transferred. Where'd you transfer to?
UCF.
Okay.
So, my best friend, Jake Adler, he went to UCF, and, he told me, how great it was and how much he loved it, and he's like, yeah, you can, he told me like how great it was and everything, and he you know, he's
He
like,
convinced you to go there.
Yeah, he
was
convinced me
hyping
to
it
go.
up, dude.
He was hyping it up, and he was like, yeah, man, come live with me, whatever, we'll rush, you know, we'll have a great time. And I was just like, all right, you know, I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm going to try something new. And I transferred, you know, Tennessee and Chattanooga, it's like small and cold all the time. We'd wake up every day, you know, like 5 a.m., have 3-4 practices a day between running, lifting, you know, just so many workouts, stadiums, running miles before the sun's up. And, you know,
That's a job.
It's literally your
D1
job.
Sports is literally
and,
a job.
Like on top of it, like in high school, I was cutting a lot of weight too. Up to junior year, I wrestled 106 pounds, but I was cutting from like 120. Yeah.
106 pounds.
Yeah.
He's not that small of a guy. I mean, 106 pounds, dude.
I was cutting a lot of weight, and then senior year, I was cutting to 120, which is another like probably 10 pounds from like 130 something to that, and you know, then I went to college. I was wrestling 133, still cutting a bunch of weight. So, you know, I'm working super hard all throughout the week and then cutting to make weight for tournaments on the weekends. And, you know, it's freezing up there.
Yeah,
and I'm a Florida boy. I like the sun. I like the warmth and everything.
I totally understand that.
Was not about anymore. So,
transferred to UCF and then...
UCF.
Wait, so you were... How old were you when you transferred? You were a sophomore.
Yeah, I started UCF the summer before my sophomore year. So it was like summer B or whatever.
Right.
I guess I was maybe 19.
Yeah.
I don't think I was 20 yet. I think I was 19. So whatever, I go there, take some summer classes, and, you know, just kind of feeling everything out, and I was really liking it. But when fall came around, Adler convinced me to, you know, rush a fraternity with him, and I ended up going to Fido. Which,
we're brothers in the bond.
Which, you know, you are too.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
But yeah, I immediately like just bought into everything. I really liked, you know, the whole motto about you know, becoming the best version of yourself. And one thing that really drew me in there was how everyone, you know, is kind of striving to be the best that they can be, and when you surround yourself with people like that, you know, it pushes you to be the best that you can be, and just it brings the whole organization, brings everything to the top, whether it's, you know, working out, you know, doing well in school, like something with a job, being successful. It's just, it brings the best out of you. And so I immediately just bought into that, and I really liked it. And my first, you know, I was doing everything that I could, you know, to just participating and, you know, stepping up to do things and like leadership positions.
You're super involved.
I was super involved.
At the start.
My first year, I got at our like formal, we have like the awards and stuff, and I got voted new member of the year. I got most athletic and some other another one, and I don't know. I just ever since then it just got rolling, and then as you know, like I ended up becoming the president my senior year.
Yeah, bro, don't skip too far.
Yeah, I won't skip. My bad. We can cut that out. I'm working then. So when I moved over to Tennessee, from Tennessee to UCF, one of the agreements I had with my parents was like, you know, I'm not wrestling anymore in college, so I gotta pay for everything on my own. So I immediately, you know, had to find a job. I started working that summer. That's also kind of a funny story because I had no really work experience other than working at my uncle's like law office, law firm, and but up there I was like, I need a job, so I went to this place called Burger U on campus. You know, I had no experience. I was just walking in places, handing my resume, like, I learned fast. I'm a hard worker, like, hire me. So I ended up going on campus, ended up being like right next to where my buddy lived because he was on campus at the time, and he I walk in there and I see my ex-girlfriend from like middle school, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're here!" I didn't even know she went there, and then she ended up getting me the job. You know, it was just like, it's one of those places where you order at the front, you get a number, and you know, you come and give them your food.
Sit down.
It wasn't like a super good. It was like a bottom,
like a BurgerFi.
BurgerFi kind of thing job. So anyway, like, you know, it wasn't. I was paying for my rent, for my groceries, you know, for my school and
So you're
everything.
working a lot.
I was working a lot. There were some weeks I was working over like 40 hours.
Damn, yeah.
Because they do have us work all like morning and afternoon and night on game days. So like I would those weeks were harsh.
No tailgates for you?
Not that first time. It sucked. I had to work.
Damn. So were you on scholarship when you were at Tennessee though, right?
Yeah, I had some money. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you came back here and like you got the fun, you had the people,
Yeah.
the fraternity, and then you're like, shit.
I had to pay for the fraternity too.
It's so much.
Everything. But then later I ended up finding out that my cousin worked at like Sonny's Barbecue, and she ended up getting me a job there, and you know it's like a step above, better hours, a little more pay, and then my friend Adler ended up working at this restaurant called Spice, which is a steakhouse downtown. Now you know that's where the serving money was.
Yeah.
So you know I went.
Burgers to steak, baby.
So I went from burgers to Sonny's Barbecue. I ended up going in, getting an interview, and at the steakhouse, and I think it was the GM there. He, you know, when you work at a place, like, you know, they want experience to be a server, and he started asking me all about wines and stuff like that, and I had no idea about wine, what food and stuff. So he didn't hire me. So then, you know, I was pissed. So I went and I started looking up all about the different types of wine, and I made a Quizlet like with flashcards with like 60 different types.
That's hilarious.
And I learned all about wines, and I think he gave me a book or something I had to look at, and I came back and I was like, boom, 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 boom. And he's like, all right, well, you don't have any server experience, so I'm going to have to put you as a host, like Expo, which is like the food runner, and then a bar back, or I'm sorry, a bus boy. So I had to start there, and then, you know, I worked really hard, learned all the things they told me to. They had like these server tests, and I passed all those, and then finally I became a server at this place, and I was making good money.
And then like how you were working there for a while, and then I know from what you told me, you already told me your story, but you were leaving. It was like raining one night. From that whole thing.
Okay, so I guess I'll jump to that. So. This night's a little blurry, but I'm pretty sure Jake Adler, he was working there, and then I came in. I think I worked a double that day, so you know there for a while. And I remember Jake had a table, and it was like some girl there was like I think during lunch, and I was trying to convince him to just stay and work with me because you know it was more fun because he was doing a cut before me. And because I had to close the restaurant down, so I was trying to convince him to stay with me, and just chill, and it's better when you have your friend with you.
Of course, everything.
So he asked the girl like at the table like what she thinks he should do, and she's like, oh, whenever I have a decision like this, I flip a coin. So we flipped a coin, heads or something, he stays, tails, he goes home early, and I think whatever it ended up being, heads or something. He ended up staying with me and closing the restaurant down. And while we're working, running around and everything, I guess I didn't notice, but it was raining outside. And I don't know. By the time we got off work, it was probably like 11 something at night. We drove separate, obviously. He went in his truck. I went on my motorcycle. And
what type of motorcycle was it?
I had a Suzuki GSXR 600. It was like a 2006 or something like that. So like a sport bike.
But you've been riding motorcycles for a while.
Yeah.
Like motocross.
I started when I was 5, and I always loved motorcycles. Grew up on them. My dad had a street bike and the dirt bikes and everything, and I was pretty good on a motorcycle. And I was paying for everything, so the gas was way cheaper, and I loved it. I loved being on my motorcycle. But by the time we got off work, it had stopped raining, and I got on my motorcycle, and we're driving from downtown Orlando back to like the UCF area, so we had to go on the highway, and I think I was in front of him, and we're just going home, and then we're less than 5 minutes, literally less than 5 minutes from our apartment, because we also lived together with it was me, him, my younger brother, Jake Gillis, and then one of my other fraternity brothers, Hunter, and there's this long turn on the highway, and you know, I'm just going on it, and
But I don't remember much, right?
I don't remember much, but you know, the roads were slick. Adler told me when he jumped out of his truck, he almost slipped. But anyway, so I lost control of my back tire, and I went to the guardrail, and it just cut my legs off, like on impact. You know,
Yeah.
I broke my humerus in a bunch of different places. My pec was torn because it was like all the way behind my head. I got opened up on my stomach.
Yeah.
You know, I was just
It's freaking insane, though.
I was
Like,
messed up.
I don't understand. When you told me the story, the part that I didn't understand was if you get both your legs cut off on a guardrail and your arm is all messed up, like there's so many things messed up. How was he able to keep you from bleeding out?
So, you know, I hit the guardrail. Jake was behind me.
Thank God he flipped the damn coin and landed on his head, bro. Holy shit, that would have been a different story.
Yeah, he was like, oh my, he always says like, I thought I saw my best friend die. He you know, pulled over on the side, jumped out of his truck. He told me he almost slipped when he jumped out because like the roads were just so
I bet
slick.
some oil or something, like, because
I don't know.
I actually watched something about, because I was pretty into motorcycles at one point, and I watched something, and it was talking about traction when you're turning on roads, whether they're wet or not, and the traction actually doesn't decrease that much if they're just wet.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the oil and stuff probably rose after, and like all that different.
Someone was talking to me about that, and apparently like the roads are slickest right after it rains, because that's when everything. Yeah, they said the same thing that you did. Because it wasn't raining anymore, and it was just after, so I got unlucky.
Yeah.
And so Adler jumped out of his truck. He ran over to me. He told me that I was like, oh man, I think I'm gonna yak. And I was adrenaline just out of it, I guess. Because I was opened up, so I just got hit in the stomach so hard that. You know, you get that feeling where you want to vomit, or you get the wind knocked out of you.
That was going on, dude.
And apparently he told me I was trying to like walk it off, but like obviously I wasn't walking anywhere.
Jeez.
But anyway, you know, he jumped down, and you know, I obviously limbs bleeding out everywhere.
I can't even imagine. You don't really remember this part, I'm sure, right?
No, not at all.
So
not
traumatic.
at all. Yeah.
I can't imagine I can't imagine seeing that happen to one of my best friends and then going over there and just being like he's probably like pretty like traumatized too to a certain degree. Thank God you're okay now and you're a tough dude. But holy shit.
It was funny. We would like after the accident, he was going through some mental stuff like everyone was.
Yeah,
and,
dude.
he was always he was my workout partner. For a while. And he put on some weight, like, cause he was like comfort eating and stuff. It was funny. What's it called?
So didn't they do tourniquet on you? Like, how did the bleeding?
So he I'm not sure the whole order, but he called an ambulance, and I guess they told him to tie tourniquets with whatever he could. And part of our work uniform, we had suspenders, so he took off his suspenders and tied them, and then like on I think my right leg, and then my left leg is just it's completely gone. So I was really gushing out of this one, so he took my backpack and just pressed it on, like waiting for the ambulance to get there, and I don't know, I just
the ambulance picked you up, but then
and
they were able to get you to the hospital before you bled out. Or?
So apparently I from what I've heard, I died twice on the way to the hospital, and I was in and out while I was in the hospital, and there was a while that no one, they thought I was dead.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of those people in the hospital who tell you like, that come out and tell your family like,
they told your family like, yeah, he's
they didn't. They're like, they didn't say he's dead, but he was like it's
not like
it's like he's unstable, like it's. I guess could go either way right now.
Yeah,
probably
man.
leaning towards dying. My first surgery, they told me that they pumped 46 bags of blood into me, like, and what they told me, they were squeezing it, to get it to go in faster, just because I had
'Cause it was
lost
coming
so
out,
much blood.
Yeah, you needed it.
And I think I had 13 surgeries in the first 7 days or something like that.
So what was, I'm curious, well, a lot of things actually. I have so many questions going through my head, but one of them is, when was the first time you fully regained consciousness and you were like, holy shit, like, what just happened? Was there a point like that? Or?
The first thing that I kind of remember is, I'm not sure when this was, but I think it was at the very beginning. They already had one of those tubes all the way down my throat, like, I guess to help me breathe. And so I couldn't talk, and they had that in for a while, which was just so frustrating.
Dude, that's terrible.
And, like, it's literally something in your mouth all the way down. You can't speak. I kind of like remember like being, I think, on like a stretcher or whatever they're running me in. They tied me down to the bed or whatever it was, just because with all the adrenaline I was going nuts and slamming stuff and like trying to get everyone off me, I guess. Yeah. And back then, you know, like I grew up in the gym. I was pretty. I was bigger. Well, I don't know about bigger than now, but I was, you know, I was decent. But I remember like being so angry and like looking up at my dad just with like tears in my eyes, like just knowing like I screwed up. Like my life's changed, you know, and then fade out. And there's like a couple things in the hospital I remember, but finally, like when I was first like really coming to, I remember what everyone would, like my parents and everyone was telling me. Not a lot of people could see me at first, but my parents like didn't leave my bedside. But the night it happened, there was like everyone just heard, like everyone was calling, everyone was like, oh my gosh, they probably got in a horrible accident, whatever, he's in the hospital. And that night, I heard over 70 people came.
Really?
Yeah, like fraternity brothers, like people just UCF, like people in the community, like showed up. They couldn't see me, but they just waited in the waiting room until like 5 a.m. when the hospital people were trying to like get them out. Like there were so many people, they had to move them to a separate room.
That must have made you feel really good though.
Dude.
It showed you like the support of I was gonna ask you, like, since you were really tight with your fraternity and stuff, how supportive they were, and if that made a really big difference. Because support's everything when you're going through something like that.
It made a world of difference. They so when I woke up, I heard, you know, my fraternity was there, like other, you know, people from sororities and stuff were there. My family members were just there waiting. I heard that they started a GoFundMe, and they raised just like $20,000 like within a day, and then $90,000 within like a week or two or something like that. And I couldn't like believe it. And I heard about like the car washes they were doing to raise money, and like the 5Ks, and how even like all the other fraternities were making shirts and like wristbands and stuff. And you know, just like not only the support from the fraternity, but from UCF and like everyone, like apparently like churches and stuff everywhere, like not only in Florida, but so many other places were praying for me. And
dude, you're giving me the chills, bro.
It was nuts. And there's actually a video of the car wash that I still watch to this day. It there was a procedure that they had to do. So for my stomach, I was opened up. Like they couldn't just close me up because I was swollen and I had like gravel and stuff in me. I was opened up from like hip to hip, and my belly button was literally like over here. One of the times when I woke up, there was I remember distinctly two things asking my mom. One, I was like, Mom, you know, how's my face? And you know, she showed me a mirror, and I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I was wearing my helmet and everything. And another thing I remember asking was, do I still have a belly button? Because I remember looking down, and it was just this huge.
What if she just like, yeah, here it is?
Oh my gosh! Like literally, I wouldn't even have been surprised at that point.
Yeah, of course. That's absurd, though, dude.
But okay, so the thing with how I was opened up, they had like a wound vac machine where they had to change it like I think twice a week, and I just dreaded it. I get anxiety. I hated it so much because it was like one of the worst pains I ever felt, and I just had to do it over and over.
So what is a wound vac? They just like take all the liquid out?
No, so I'm opened up, right, and my skin.
Oh, they had to change.
They had to change it.
Okay.
So my skin's trying to come together, to
To
heal. So this wound vac, they put like some material that goes over it, and then like this plastic or something that kind of forms like a vacuum seal, and then they have the wound vac, which sucks or something. I don't know what it does, but it's supposed to make you heal twice as fast. So what they had to do was every like two times a week they'd have to change it. So when they do it, it was like they cut something in my skin and were just peeling my skin off.
Oh, dude.
And I was on so many painkillers. They'd even give me Dilaudid, which is stronger than morphine. Like nothing they gave me like took the pain away.
You could still feel it.
It was so bad. It was horrible. And the only thing that could like make me feel better was I'd watch this video like on my phone, and it was like of
the car wash video.
The car wash video. It was Fraternity and other people. Just like I had a video of them doing a car wash and tabling and a whole bunch of other stuff. And there was another fraternity next door. It was Gizoni, which used to be like Lambda Chi, but like I knew some of them too, and they came over and helped, and they made food and everything, and they just have this video of all the people doing this stuff for me, and then towards the end of the video it has like pictures of tweets and like other social media stuff of fraternities, sororities, just Greek life, like everywhere, like at a bunch of different schools, so many places.
That's
just
crazy,
tweeting,
man.
like, oh, prayers to this, oh, GoFundMe, support, and I would just stare at this video and watch it like on repeat over and over and over while they did the procedure. It still hurt really bad, but it was the only thing that could help me like ease the pain.
100%, dude. I mean, that I can't imagine, but at least knowing and seeing the community all coming together for a cause like that, that's, I don't know, you're probably just like, all right, like, I gotta do my part now.
I didn't have a choice,
through, man.
Everyone was there for me. When people could finally see me, I'd have 6 different people in there every single day. Like every day. They'd come in and like literally watch them do like procedures on me and stuff like in my room, and they'd just be there for me, like literally like different members of the fraternity, different people in sororities, just my friends, my family, like there was always people in there, and with that kind of support you have no choice but to overcome, you can't let them all down.
I'm curious if this was, I don't know, like another lifetime maybe, and you're in the same accident but you weren't in a fraternity and maybe you just didn't have that many friends, how do you think your recovery process would have went differently? If like you just had your parents, or maybe even just one parent, like you just didn't have the same immense support that you do now.
I don't even want to think about that, man. I don't even,
because there's people out there that go through tragic accidents and they don't have that support group, I'm just curious, like, so I'm trying to emphasize the importance of the support you had.
Dude, well, I guess I should kind of use that to move into this. So I was in the hospital for 2 months, and then I moved into like a recovery place for another 2 months, and it was literally right next to the emergency room. I could literally throw a rock and hit the emergency room. It was so close, because I was in and out of the emergency room a lot. Like when I got released, I was still getting fevers. There's still a lot wrong with me. But during that time, people would still come visit me and everything, but I was better, and I was kind of alone a little more. And so being like alone kind of like took away that it kind of made it more real, like
no, I get you.
Having all those distractions.
To kind of sink in.
Yeah, I had all the distractions with the really nice nurses and all my friends and the support and everything. And then now I'm kind of like with my family members or whoever, so I'm alone a little more. So now it's like really hitting me, like I'm never, like at the time, like I'm never gonna be the same. Like am I even, like I was fun. I loved going out. I loved playing sports. I was a confident guy, and like I lost my legs. Like I'm so different now. Can I recover from that? And all these dark thoughts started like creeping up, and there was a time period in there where I think it was like 2 weeks, maybe a little longer. I don't really know. Where I was just so sad and so like depressed, and I never felt like that in my entire life. Like I'm a very positive and happy person, and it was so weird, and I just could not stop just weeping like uncontrollably. Like at random times, I'd just start, and I just couldn't do anything about it, and I
mean, that's all part of the grieving process, man.
Yeah.
Like, you went through something that was extremely traumatic, you know? It wasn't like you lost someone in your life, but, dude, you lost your legs, and you're a D1 athlete. Sports and partying and living a very active lifestyle was your life, man, and it, like, took it away instantly. I can't fathom it. So it makes sense. I was wondering, so you went into that stage of depression. Was there a stage where you were, like, just pissed off at the world, like, angry? Because I feel like a lot of people, I've spoken to a lot of people who've been through stuff like that, and they get there's, like, a stage of, like, sadness, depression, and, like, just pissed off at the world. Like, why me? Like, why did this happen? Like, the hell?
The angry part didn't really come that much. It was, like, what I don't know, because, you know, I'm used to being, everyone gets angry and stuff,
right.
but I really, like, I get sad like a normal person, but I'd never felt this type of sadness before. It was just nonstop, like, over your head, and I'd never felt like that, and I hated it. It was weird, and I was just so upset, like, oh, I'm never gonna be like that athlete that I was. I'm not gonna be, you know, the guy, the man that I was. Like, I'm different. I can never be. I had this. There's this poster in my room. This picture is like from like my high school yearbook that I was. They took a picture because, you know, I won states and everything. I'm like this, like just on top of the world. You know, I just accomplished everything I wanted to, and I'd look at that picture and be like, I'm never gonna be that guy again. And so I, you know, finally I just came to a point where I had to make a decision, you know, where I was going to be, am I going to feel like this? I'm going to be upset, sad, depressed the rest of my life and just be like, oh, you know, why this happened to me? Or am I going to make the best of it?
Victim, you know? Or victor, bro.
I had to make that choice. And finally I was like, you know, I don't want to feel like this. This isn't who I am. I'm a mentally strong guy. I'm a very strong, confident person. This is who I am, and I can choose to be that person again. And like, at that point, I feel like I would have lost who I was before, and I decided I'm gonna be that guy that I've always been. And ever since that point, there's no turning back. Like, there's obviously ups and downs, like with my health and everything, and still getting upset. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take every opportunity that I can. I'm gonna make the best of this. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. And I started working out with the 2.5 pound weights. There's like a little fitness room in this place.
Tell them about that nerve damage you were telling me about earlier on your side, where you couldn't even move your wrist for a little bit.
So when I broke my humerus, there's a nerve in here somewhere that just turns off your wrist, and I forget what they call it. It's like wrist drop or something like that. But there was, for a while, I couldn't, like, I'd look at my dad, be like, oh, am I moving my fingers? And he'd be like, no, because I'd be trying to move, and I just couldn't. And I guess over time it was getting a little better. But when I finally moved my fingers, I tried to put my wrist like this, and it just go like that. I physically could not hold it up because the nerve was so bad. And then finally, after 2 months of a bunch of different therapy in the hospital, I was able to move like soup cans, like, from up and putting them on, like, on a shelf or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'd be training with those little clothespins, and I'd be pinching it and
like picking up little.
Yeah, just the smallest things. I'm like, what is this? Before I'd be repping out the 100-pound dumbbells, and now I can't even hold my wrist up. Like, I was so fragile and weak. It was horrible. I hated it, and that was a big thing too. I'd be in that room, and I'd be looking in the mirror, and I was so tiny, and my face was skinny, and I was pale and frail and just little, and I hated it. And so I made that choice, and I was like, oh, I'm getting everything back. I want it all. I'm taking it. And we started with the 2.5 pound dumbbells. I'd have my brother, I'd have my roommates, I'd have my dad, whichever family members were with me at the time, and helping me train, helping me do exercises. starting literally with the 2.5 pound weights, trying to move it up and do wrist curls and regular curls and anything I could do out of my wheelchair.
Did they think you were going to be able to make a full recovery that way? Because, I mean, we just worked out today and you're shoulder pressing 185 pounds. So, like, you obviously made a pretty damn good recovery.
Yeah.
But at the time, were the doctors like, yeah, if you keep going through physical therapy, you'll be able to recover? Or were they like, nah, like, you're fried?
one ever really...
They didn't really say? They were just...
Like, there was really no... I visited someone in the hospital who got in a motorcycle accident. He lost his arm. And after I was talking to him and everything, you know, I was going home and I was like, man, like, I really wish I could have had, you know, someone who'd been through worse than what I experienced tell me, like, you know, it's going to be okay. But you know, all my family members and everyone would say, you know, you're going to be fine, you're going to get through this, whatever.
They had not actually lived it.
But,
so.
yeah, and no one actually knew.
Yeah.
You know, no one actually knew if it was going to be okay. No one knew what I was, you know, going to be able to do again or what I would do. And, you know.
You have to go in with that mindset, though, that you're going to fight as hard as you can, make the best out of it, you know?
Yeah. And it sounds like a really easy decision, but it was just nuts. And, you know, day after day, working out, I'm starting to look better. I'm starting to feel good. But then I lost my hair, and that was
what? You never told me about that, bro.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. In the hospital I had like 17 different tubes, and then like by the time I was out I had like two tubes, or maybe 3. I had 2 catheters because my bladder like ruptured, so they had to piece it back together along with a bunch of different other organs, and then they had to take my intestine out, which was gross, and then they did a surgery to put it back. Like I was still messed up, you know.
Yeah.
And then a point came after, I guess, from all the stress and the drugs and everything. My hair fell out, which was another horrible point for me.
Mom, is my face okay? Yes, but you have no hair.
I know. In the hospital, I had it, and then I get out of the hospital, and I'm like finally like, getting a little better. And then it caught up to me. Boom, bald patches in my hair, and I was just like, no.
Damn.
Why? And then I ended up, you know, getting a haircut and some special like stuff I rubbed into my scalp, and my hair came back.
I'm curious. Was there a part where were you ever worried about like, girls or anything? Because you're like a stud. You're in a fraternity. Like you're going out all the time. Like, you know, living your life. Was there a portion of you that was like, shit? Like, will I still be able to like, get girls and like stuff like that? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, that thought of course, like it went through my head, and that, you know, that's a really big concern.
Of course, yeah. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, like I would probably be thinking about that at one point. Like it's gonna cross your mind.
It definitely comes up, and it's like, oh, you know, those other thoughts, like, oh, am I gonna, you know, die alone? Am I gonna do like all this stuff? You know, all that stuff you think about, and you know, I learned, you know, it's all about the confidence and how you uphold yourself. If you don't act different, people aren't gonna treat you different. Yeah. So I was in the hospital for 2 months, and then I was in that recovery place for 2 more months. So that was basically during the summer, because the accident happened April 4th of 2017. And then the school year, you know, that was like the end of the spring semester.
Right.
So basically all of summer I was in the hospital and doing and all that stuff. School started back, you know, in August. And I decided I didn't want to go back home, and, you know, it would have sucked to be away from my friends and everything.
Yeah.
So I decided to move in back with like my other roommates, and like we rented like a house in, like near the campus, and I moved back in with them, and I started school again that first fall.
Dude, that's crazy. You're off 4 months, 5 months, 3 months, something like that. And then all right, I'm ready to go back to school. Let's go. How different was it when you went back?
So there's a lot of things I had to get like used to, which took time. One of the big things was like sitting down for a while, like just like sitting in my wheelchair or in a chair, like my legs would get sore and like my back would hurt, and everything I did took so much energy out of me. So that was when I couldn't like sit through a class or anything. I tried starting out with I think 13 credits or something like that, and I ended up that first semester I had to do 10, which is I think I ended up doing like 4 classes or something like that, which I know that doesn't add up, but I think one of them wasn't a 3 credit. But anyway, so I had to like get back into that. But yeah, I'd get back from class or whatever and just pass out.
Just tired, bro.
It was so exhausting. And, you know, when I still had my tubes and everything, and I was, like, in a wheelchair, I wasn't walking yet, like, in my prosthetics. Like, I was still, you know, pretty fresh out of the hospital. So I was still, like, I had to juggle. I was getting sick all the time. My immune system hadn't built back up yet, and, you know, I was still dealing with, like, a lot.
Right.
But when I moved back in, so the fraternity has its, like, elections in November. So I moved back in August, and like, back to go to school. And the vice president at the time, he was always, you know, hanging out and stuff at my house, and he was like, we were just talking, whatever, and I was like, oh, you know, who's running for, like, president, vice president this year, like, who's going to be the exec? And he was like, oh, you know, we don't really know who's going to run for president. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, you should do it. And I was like, yeah, okay, man. Like, I just, you know,
Yeah.
4 months ago, I got in an accident that killed me. And, you know, I
freaking hurricane out
yeah. But, I got an accident that literally killed me, and I still have tubes in me. I get sick all the time. I can't run, you know, 150 other people, you know, and, can't do that right now. Like, even though, you know, I was super involved before, I was like the rush chair and stuff like that. But then, you know, that got cut short. But so just kind of like breezed over that. I was, you know, like, yeah, okay. It wasn't like a big conversation, and you know, just going through school, going through everything, and you know, a month, whatever goes by, he keeps coming over, just hanging out. You know, he brings it up again. Like, just kind of like jokingly, I'm like, all right, haha, man. And then, you know, it's getting closer and closer to November when they have the elections, and you know, finally, I was like, yo, man, like, we really don't have anyone. Like, why don't you just do it? Why don't you just run and, like, see what happens? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I'll talk to the president now and see, like, what the workload is, and you know, see how bad it is, and if it's something I could handle. And I went to a couple meetings with the president at the time, who was actually, like, my big brother in the fraternity. And, you know, it was something I thought I'd like to do, but I didn't know if I could. And finally it kind of boiled down to, like, you know, I made that decision before. He's a good boy. I made that decision before about, you know, taking every opportunity that I can to just make the best out of everything. I was like, you know, before, if this opportunity came up, I would have took it. So I decided I wasn't gonna let this hold me back, even though, you know, I had physical therapy, everything's trying to do school. I had all my doctor's appointments. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see what happens. And it's kind of, like, really interesting. There was no one at the time when I decided, you know, all right, I'm gonna do it. And then the one person that if I thought had you know, the biggest chance of beating me, you know, in an election, like, if I wasn't gonna run and I saw this person running, I would, like, vote for him hands down, because, like, he's the man. I really like. He's my friend. I really like him. He's the man. His name is Joshua Bologna. So he ends up saying that he's gonna run, and I was like, all right, here we go. I mean, we'll see what happens. And, you know, I prepared my speech and everything, and you know, we had the elections. But give a little background about Josh. Like, he's a really, really big leader and everything. He was president of IFC. He ran for president of the whole school, like, before the elections. He you know, was on exec before. You know, he's just that
big timer.
He's a big time guy. And you know, we after the elections, you know, I ended up giving my speech in front of everyone. It was actually the first time I got to take my prosthetic legs home from my prosthetic, you know, the place that worked with me. I got to, like, before when I was...
Oh, no way.
It was the first time I got to take them back, and I had been, while preparing for the speech and doing school and everything between, I was working on walking every day, because I had this vision in my head where I wanted to wear my legs and put on a suit and stand up in front of everyone and give my speech, and
that's so cool.
Whatever happened. But, you know, I wanted to be able to do that and stand up in front of everyone. And you know, I worked really hard on walking, and it was the first time I got to take my legs home, and I put them on, I got dressed, and, I went in there, and I gave my speech, and, I ended up winning. It was
Dude, you
was
must have
crazy.
felt so, like, empowered after,
It felt really good. It was I think a big turning point for me, like knowing like I'd seen I can still do these things.
Exactly.
And me and Josh were still great after.
Yeah.
I told him after, because I had heard rumors that he was thinking about running for president of just SGA, like the entire school.
Right.
Again, I was like, yo, you do this, I'm 100% behind you. We all will be. And he ended up doing that, and we supported him with like tabling and helping, get votes for him, and he ended up winning that and being president of the school. So,
win, dude.
Yeah, I was president of Fraternity, then he was president of the entire school, and
that's so cool.
It was awesome, man. And there's nothing that really like could prepare you for that, but it was cool. I really got to step up, and I think I did a good job.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome.
It was a great experience. It was tough. It was it's hard.
Oh, there's so many more challenges, complications. You probably learned so much, too.
I learned so much, and about myself and being a leader, and I developed a lot of good skills with time management and speaking and running like a whole organization.
Yeah, you're running a business
like with a real budget and everything. Like, it was cool. And actually, I skipped over a little part. So that happened in November. I got elected. August, I started school again. So during the accident, I was supposed to take my LSAT to get which is the entrance exam to get into law school, and I had to postpone it because I was in the hospital. So I was just on edge. I really wanted to take this test, and I took it in September. So right after, and so started school in August, took my LSAT in September, then president in November. I ran the fraternity for a whole year, which ended up being my senior year.
Yeah.
I ended up taking one extra semester to graduate. I graduated this past December, 2018, with a degree in finance. And now I working on this fitness company with Adler that we started, and I'm also I'm retaking my LSAT. I did pretty good the first time, but I want to open some more doors, and just really trying to blow it out of the water.
Yeah, man, you've been grinding hard for that, right? Since you graduated, every day.
I haven't stopped. But so
where do you want to go
now?
To law school.
Dude, I don't know. I'd always wanted to go to UF, and I got in this when I applied this time. I got into FIU, Stetson, and University of Miami. And then UF told me I have a guaranteed transfer spot. So if I start at one of those schools, then I can come in next year. And I don't know. I decided, even though UF is where I ended up wanting to go, I'm gonna retake this test just to open some more opportunities. I can make it a better decision, not being so limited.
Right.
With the score, I'm working towards now. I'm working really hard. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to get it, but it would give me a shot at, an Ivy League, Harvard. Or
I love how humble you are. Man. You're such a modest dude. Well, not even modest, just humble in general. But
I'd probably be stupid if I got in and didn't go there. But
right. I mean,
I'm
it's
planning
smart,
on applying.
Then you have a lot more options. You can go to UF maybe for free or on some type of scholarship, or you can go to an amazing school of your choice. So either way, it's a win-win. But something else I was kind of wondering was, how did people treat you differently when you came back to school with no legs? Were they just super supportive, or did they get kind of annoying? Were people sucking up to you, or acting like you're disabled?
No, so
I don't know. I'm just thinking how would people react differently?
That's exactly how you expect it to happen. And don't get me wrong, people helped me when I needed. I obviously needed some help.
Yeah.
Either getting around or with rides or anything. I needed help, and people gave it to me. No one was overbearing, oh, let me feed you, or let me give you your drink or anything weird like that. But I feel it really boiled down to I didn't act different, things were super different.
So they treated you normal.
So everyone treated me normal. I upheld myself a confident man, like I always really wanted to be, and strive to be, and people recognize that.
Yeah.
And people still help me all the time, because I need it. Like I don't need it, but it helps make my life a little
just
easier.
like we were working out, and like you can't push a lot of weight without sliding off a bench. Like that's
so
just
you
like
hold my
it's
leg,
just like
yeah.
physical like stuff you literally need help with.
Yeah.
But no one was like babying you or like acting weird like that.
Yeah.
And I can't see that happening honestly with you. It was just a question that just went through my mind because people kind of get weird or get funny around like situations they're uncomfortable in.
Which
like
I totally understand. Like I don't think I'm weird about it.
Yeah, if you're not weird about it, then you're totally cool. Then
I'm not really
other people will
sensitive.
respond the same way.
That's
I
right.
think, at
Ever
least.
since from the beginning, I would joke about it. Like I'd be like, oh, at least I don't have to work out legs anymore. Which I was wrong, by the way. I have to work out legs even harder than I did before.
Yeah,
I rely on this so much. But it made it help me cope better, because I joke about it. Everyone else would joke about it, and but like I do need help sometimes. Like we'll be in the gym and people hand me weights just because it's easier than me trying to walk or whatever. I'll still put up the weight, but getting it from point A to point B. But yeah, no one really was super weird about it.
Something else is, would you say this whole experience changed the way you kind of look at life after? Because I know you're already a super driven, motivated dude who, you had big aspirations, but when something like this happens, things can change. But I'm wondering if your perspective on life kind of shifted after you almost passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally couldn't. There's probably like a pretty high chance you wouldn't have made it through, but you persevered and you were fortunate. So I'm curious, like how, if anything changed in your view. Or not really.
Well, like a big thing was me trying to be like, I wanted to be who I was before, and I always, really wanted to excel at like what I do, and I feel like this, if anything, kind of pushed me even more. Like now, if I have a decision or something about like taking a risk, I go for it. Because I already died. Like my time was done. Like this is.
Bonus round.
This is bonus round, I'm gonna make the best of it. Like I had this big decision. Some other things happened which weighed in on the decision, but essentially me starting, like I could start at FIU this fall or some other law school, or I could kind of bet on myself and take a year and try to. Risk not getting to law school next year if I don't do better on this test or something like that.
You're gonna crush it, bro.
But like at the time, I really wasn't sure, because I'd taken it, and I didn't really know how to get better at it, and I wasn't sure if I could, and I was like, I feel like I don't want to. I'm not settling. FIU is a good law school and everything. I'd be super happy to go there, but I just feel like I want the option to go somewhere else, and I was like, it's really scary. I'm really scared to just risk this and not take this spot I literally have waiting for me, and even have a guaranteed spot to go to UF where I wanted to go originally, or I can just see if I can just hammer this test and maybe a new door will open up. So I thought about it and I was going for it.
Oh yeah, man, dude. I mean, you might as well I think. With all this time you're spending studying and your work ethic, I think you'll be okay, brother.
I hope so, man.
But something else that kind of popped into my head, going back a little bit when you said you passed away like twice on the way to the hospital, did you have any like weird experiences or anything like that after, or?
So
I don't know,
always ask me that.
Yeah, because some people, they like pass over, or they're like kind of stuck between, and maybe they saw some light, maybe they saw like a vision or images or something. I don't know. I've never done it.
Yeah. So I don't remember 100% like a divine experience, but I do remember there was a time when I still had the tubes down my throat and I was still like in and out, waking up, and my dad was sending me like church songs and stuff like that, and I remember like hearing his voice, and like seeing something, and like waking up, and I remember like that time, like I was just super, like woke up and I was like, just super, like I'm Catholic and everything, like just praying, and I don't know, I felt comforted, that I had, like God and everything on my side, and my family, and so I don't remember I was on the other side, I was in heaven, I don't remember it exactly like that, but I do remember like a
being like comforting you and keeping you safe, kind of.
Yeah, I do feel like God was there,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember for a while I'd be going into surgeries and I'd just be like, all right, I know you're with me, everything, and
yeah, man.
Just also they're supporting me.
That's awesome. So, what would you say like some of the biggest challenges you faced mentally and physically were like in the recovery process? Like if you were to name like one or two, or even if someone else was in your position, like recovering, and they're like struggling getting through it, like what's a piece of advice you would share with them to like help them based off of something you struggled with?
So at the beginning, I definitely recommend working out and everything, not just to people recovering, like to everyone, because I had that huge mental battle with myself about like, am I gonna be this person that I was? Or
by the way, you got through that like pretty fast compared to a lot of people, dude. People struggle with that for years. So.
I was really happy because I hated that period. It was not a good time.
Okay.
But
been there, but yeah.
It helped working out, looking in the mirror and seeing progress, seeing me get better, and like knowing like it doesn't have to be this way. Physical challenges I had, all the obvious ones. One of the big ones was like this whole nerve thing. So I'd be putting up like weights, however like I was working up towards, and my arm would just give out like out of nowhere because that nerve was still healing, and then that kind of stopped happening, like just giving out like more, like became less often, and then probably like a year later I ended up, I'm not exactly sure when, but I have this huge rod like going all up my arm.
Still?
Yeah, I still have it, but before it would go kind of past my elbow, so it was like messing with something in here. So when I try to bench or whatever, it would really bother me and kind of push me like I'd start giving out, not just out, but it'd weaken it and it would hurt and like feel really weird. So I had to get surgery and he took off like about this much of it. I've been a lot better since then, but still this side is not like the same.
You have a metal rod in your arm right now? Still?
Oh, I have so much hardware, like all in my pelvis and my femurs, and I'm just decorated, man, like a robot.
That's crazy.
But
at least you're able to get in the gym and continually like keep pushing yourself and growing and getting stronger. And because I feel like if you didn't have a gym, and it's almost like a therapy for you mentally too, because you're able to go in the gym and you felt better about yourself after, and that's with anyone, but especially since you couldn't do so many of the things you could do before.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I'm seeing it from talking to you like a decent amount now. The gym is almost like a therapy outlet for you. Like
yeah. It before the accident, that was like my outlet. I'd get upset about something, and whatever time it was, midnight, 1 a.m, like during the day, I'd go to the gym and I'd just work out, and that it made me feel better.
All those hormones.
Some people, there's different ways of coping with things, but I liked going to the gym. And, remembering that when I was going through all this stuff, even though I was literally, like, so skinny and weak, like, it still made me feel better. I'd go work out I'd have to start with, like, 20, 30 minutes at first. We'd go back, like, straight to the room down the hall and knock out. Like, I'd just fall asleep, like, so much. Because it was exhausting. I just couldn't handle it yet. If I worked out too hard, I'd even get sick sometimes. It was weird.
No, I mean, that makes sense, dude. Your body had to have been exhausted. But, dude, you gotta tell these guys about the phantom pain you experience sometimes. Because when you told me, I was like, what the hell even is that? Like,
okay, so phantom pain is basically when you still feel like your limbs after they're gone. So it's not as bad now, but closer to the hospital, and then also when I get sick sometimes, my phantom pain just goes nuts. So I can still like feel my toes and like wiggle them and everything, like right now. It's and like even though I'm just sitting here, I kind of it feels like someone's poking like my feet with like pins, and like needles. And
is that like all the time pretty much? Like just
yeah, like right now I feel it. Yeah, it's weird, but close to the accident, it was so bad and like it's excruciating. And it's just like you can't really like. There's medicines for it. I think one's called like gabapentin, which they tried giving me, but it was just so severe that the medicine didn't even help. And it literally feels like someone is stabbing your legs with like knives that are also electrocuting you, like all the way down.
That sounds great.
It's horrible, and it's from I guess like your brain sends signals to your nerves, and then they're all screwed up,
back.
and they don't come back. Yeah, so everything's just going nuts.
It has to be an energy thing, like where your legs.
Yeah, and we'd be looking up how to cope with it, what to do to make it better, and like there's a whole bunch of like different things you can do, like look in a mirror and like look at them and stuff like that, but nothing would help. Like my parents would like rub my like nubs for hours when I was trying to fall asleep because it was so bad. But sometimes it'd just be so bad it'd like be surges where it'd come and I'd be like and then I'd stop and then it'd come again, and then I remember at one point like it'd just be bringing like tears to my eyes because it was just so painful.
Yeah.
And one of the things we looked up that it said was like on the internet about it was your phantom pain. It's kind of determines how bad it is with how severe it was when you lost your legs. Like kind of like how severe the last pain you felt when you lost your legs. It's kind of how bad your phantom pain is.
It's not a good case for you, buddy.
So like if I would have been put under, I don't know exactly, but I imagine if I would have been put under and they took my legs, then it wouldn't have been nearly as bad. Which I'm not sure how like for other people if it's still bad or whatnot. But my legs were literally like mutilated and ripped off my body.
Yeah. So
the phantom pain's bad.
We can cut this out. This may be super graphic, but so your legs were just somewhere on the highway, just like sitting.
I guess. I don't know if they ever found them or what, but
dude, I don't mean to ask them. I'm just thinking like, dude, your legs were cut off on a highway. Like they were like completely gone. They weren't even like dangling or like. Or was one of them?
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure my skin was up and my bone was still sticking.
Oh.
And they had to like just amputate everywhere. We just moved, and for some reason I still had my backpack from that night, which was just drenched and soaked in blood. It was like a black JanSport, and it just had this red tint to it because that's what Adler used to put the pressure on.
Yeah, I got you, bro. So you started a fitness brand. I would say, I don't know if it's an apparel brand.
Yeah, it's more apparel.
So it's a fitness apparel brand, but it has, a powerful meaning behind it, and you started it after your accident for a reason. So will you share with the audience a little bit about it and why you started it in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'd be going to the gym, just trying to, get myself better. And we'd be in the gym, and it'd either be, me and Jake Adler, who is like the one that saved me and started this with me and my brother, or whoever. And we'd be working out, just, sweating, working hard and everything. And, people would always come up and be like, oh, that's so motivational and, like, inspirational and everything. Like, keep it up. And, it started happening so often that we decided, maybe it'd be a good idea to try to spread the message out.
Right.
And, share the story, and maybe it'll help more people. Because, people at my prosthetic place would even ask me, about everything, and I'd be able to help them. And, people more, now that we've started this, people reach out to me who have, similar things happen where they get amputations and stuff like that. And I visited someone in the hospital who lost his arm in a motorcycle accident, and it is getting the message out there about everything. And we just really want to spread it and encourage people, whatever their challenges are, whatever they want to overcome, whether you have some sort of disability or not, like for whoever, just go out there and make it happen.
Bro.
You can do it.
Sign me up for some. I'll definitely.
I got you.
So there's one question that I normally ask I guess I come on the show, and for your case, I'm just going to change it up a little bit. And for this one, it's what piece of advice would you give to someone who has just experienced tragedy or a very challenging experience in their life, and maybe they're going through a dark time mentally, kind of like how you did for a few weeks? What would you tell them to help them get through that period of time?
So
yeah, it's kind of deep.
Yeah. You know, basically, I guess to summarize, like my whole thing, like, you don't have to let anything hold you back. You are only restricted by what you restrict yourself with in your head. You know, if you want to go be a doctor, you can do that. You know, you put in the work, you can make it happen. You want to, I don't know, go sing on American Idol. Who knows what the odds are, but who cares? You know, do everything you can to make it happen. I just, with the tragedy and everything, there's one thing, you know, I kind of say, you know, anyone can do well when they're having a good day, but it's, you know, how you react on your bad days that, you know, shows your true character. Yeah, and, you know, there's no reason that you can't make something happen that you want to make happen.
Alright, I like that. So, if someone, what if they're just kind of depressed and,
sad?
Yeah, they're sad, bro. I mean, it took you a little bit to crawl out of it, but how did you make that, transition? You just snapped out of it, kind of? You know how you went from being, super sad, depressed, and then you're like, alright, no, I can still be the same person I was. I can do this. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a hard question. I know you're not a therapist or anything. I was just wondering, if there's something you did. Yeah, because it's hard. It's really hard to make that transition. I've been in dark places before, and it took me longer than it took you. But we had completely different circumstances and stuff. But I'm just curious if there's anything practical or any tips you did, or you just were
you know, I was
man up. I don't know.
No, I get you. You can't just say man up and just
it's hard.
do it. It's really tough. And I gotta say that, you know, I didn't want to go out at all. So one thing that really helped me was working out in the gym, just seeing the progress and getting my confidence back and everything really was helping me, you know, help me get through it. And then also there's that point where I didn't want to see anyone anymore. I wanted to just be by myself or whatever. And finally some of my friends just showed up, picked me up, and took me away, you know, to go eat or something, you know, and I felt so much better. I don't know, so I
stay
guess
active,
stay active,
your life.
stay
don't
moving.
Yourself.
Yeah, don't you know, don't isolate. Yeah, don't be by yourself. You know, try to do something. Try to pick up where you left off. You know, just try to keep it moving, and then soon enough, you forget about it. You know, try to just do everything. I was slipping, you know, and they showed up.
Natural, dude.
Took me away, and we had a great time. And I was like, yeah, I can still have fun. I still like all this stuff, you know. It was just, people got me out of a lot of stuff. Having a good support system helped.
That's huge, bro. All right, man. So there's one last thing I do, and I started integrating this more recently, but it's a lightning round of questions. It's only 5 or 6 questions, completely random questions that I just picked right before this. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna hit you with the question. You're just gonna answer right away. First thing that comes to your mind. I wrote them down on my phone, so let me know when you're ready.
All right.
All right, bro. So you can only do one exercise the rest of your life. What is it?
Bench press.
Fucking dude, damn fraternity guys, man.
I'm not gonna say squat.
Oh my god. What would you rather know? How you're gonna die or when you're gonna die?
How I'm gonna die.
How you're gonna die? Would you rather speak all languages or be able to speak to animals?
Wow. Animals.
Would you rather end the life of a single human being or 100 cute baby animals?
Wait, what?
Would you rather end the life of one single human being or 100 cute baby animals?
Oh my gosh.
Yo, these are random questions, man.
One human being.
Oh man, you're gonna kill someone?
Yeah.
You can only have one item with you on a deserted island. What would it be?
My dog?
Your dog?
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna eat your dog or you're gonna starve to death.
No, it's fine. You already said your dog.
Yeah, I said my dog.
Oh, I would have this dog too. At least you'd go
He's so
out.
cute.
If you had to live off only one food the rest of your life, what would it be?
Lobster.
Lobster? Alright, that's a good
I like
choice,
lobster.
bro. Thank you so much for this.
Of course,
your story is super inspiring. I hope everyone watching takes something away from it and, knows that you can really get through any adversity in your life and even use that for your strength. If you guys want to follow this guy on social media, I'll put it in the description. What was your Instagram?
This is my first and last name.
Yeah, so Radley Gillis is his
Yeah.
Instagram, and then his personal brand his fitness brand is RadFlex. RadFlex Fitness. Pretty straightforward. First, last name, and brand. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next interview.